Every time you walk through airport security, you're being quietly tested. Not for weapons, not for threats, for how much money they can extract from you before you even reach your gate. In 2026, airports changed the rules, and they did it without telling you. Here are the dark secrets airport security doesn't want you to know, and the ones that could cost you hundreds of dollars on your next flight. Let's start with the one that's catching the most people off guard right now. For years, carry-on bag size limits existed on paper, but almost nobody enforced them. You could stuff an oversized bag into the overhead bin, and as long as it fit, nobody said a word. That's over. Airlines have started aggressively enforcing exact carry-on dimensions at the gate in 2026, and they're not being subtle about it. We're talking rigid metal sizers positioned right at the boarding door, with staff actively directing passengers to test their bags before stepping onto the aircraft. And here's the part that should make you angry. When your bag doesn't fit that sizer, even by half an inch, they gate check it. And that gate check now comes with a fee. Not a small one either. The airlines figured out that the moment you're standing at the boarding door, bag in hand, flight about to leave, you'll pay whatever they ask. You have no leverage and no alternative. It's a trap designed to look like a policy. And the worst part? The revenue airlines generate from gate-checked baggage fees is enormous, and it's growing every single year. They didn't tighten enforcement because of safety. They tightened it because they found a new way to charge you at the exact moment you can't say no. But that's just what's happening at the gate. What's happening at the security checkpoint is even shadier. The TSA quietly updated its list of prohibited items in 2026, and things that you've been carrying through security for years are now being confiscated. Items that passed through scanners without a second glance last year are now flagged, pulled from your bag, and thrown into a bin. And here's what most travelers don't realize. The TSA doesn't publicize these changes with any kind of fanfare. There's no announcement, no email, no sign at the entrance. The rules just change, and you find out when your stuff gets taken. So you're standing there watching a security officer drop something you've carried on every flight for the past decade into a confiscation tray, and you genuinely had no idea it was no longer allowed. That's not an accident. That's by design. Because if they told you in advance, you'd leave it at home. And a confiscated item is a passenger who now needs to buy a replacement at an airport store, where everything costs 3 times what it should. Most people just accept it and move on. But the fact that these rule changes happen with almost zero public communication should tell you everything about whose interests the system is actually serving. And it gets worse, because now they're not just scanning your bags, they're scanning your face. Airports across the country have been rolling out biometric screening technology in 2026, and the expansion is happening fast. We're talking facial recognition systems built directly into the security process. You walk up, a camera captures your face, and your identity is matched against a federal database before you've even shown your boarding pass. Now the official line is that this speeds things up and improves security. And sure, it does move the line faster. But what most passengers don't know is the sheer amount of data being collected during this process, and how little transparency exists around where that data goes, how long it's stored, and who has access to it. You didn't sign up for a facial recognition database, but if you flew through certain airports in 2026, you might already be in one. And here's the detail that should really bother you. These systems have been shown to disproportionately affect certain demographics, particularly older travelers, who are more likely to be flagged for additional screening when the technology struggles to match their face to their ID photo. So the people who are least likely to understand what's happening are the ones getting pulled aside most often. That's not a security upgrade. That's a system that creates problems for the people least equipped to push back. Now, everything so far has been about what happens at the airport. But the secrets that cost you the most money? Those start the moment you book your ticket. Airlines in 2026 are using artificial intelligence to set ticket prices, and the system is far more aggressive than most people realize. These aren't simple supply and demand calculations. These are machine learning models that analyze your search history, your booking patterns, your location, even the device you're searching on, and they adjust the price accordingly. If you've searched for the same flight 3 times, the algorithm knows you're interested and the price goes up. If you're booking close to the departure date, the system knows you're desperate and it charges accordingly. Dynamic pricing has existed for years, but the AI models airlines are deploying now are on a completely different level. They're designed to find the absolute maximum each individual passenger is willing to pay and charge them exactly that amount. 2 people sitting in the same row, same class, same baggage allowance can pay wildly different prices, and neither of them will ever know. But here's the secret the airlines really don't want you to know, because this one actually saves you money. In most countries, there is a legal right to cancel a flight within 24 hours of booking and receive a full refund, no questions asked. It doesn't matter if you book the cheapest basic economy fare. It doesn't matter if the ticket says non-refundable. The 24-hour cancellation window is a legal requirement, and airlines are required to honor it. But they will never tell you about it voluntarily. You won't see it on the booking confirmation page. You won't hear it from customer service unless you specifically ask. Because every passenger who doesn't know about this rule is a passenger who keeps a ticket they might otherwise have canceled. This is genuinely one of the most useful things you can learn as a traveler. If you find a better price, a better route, or you just change your mind, you have a full 24 hours to walk it back. And yet the vast majority of passengers have absolutely no idea this right exists, because the airline has zero incentive to tell them. And then there are dynamic boarding groups, the newest trick in the airline playbook. You used to know exactly where you stood. You booked your ticket, you got your boarding group, and that was that. But airlines have started using systems that assign boarding groups dynamically, meaning your position in the boarding order can shift based on factors you never agreed to and can't control. Checked a bag? That changes your group. Didn't pay for priority? You're further back than you used to be. The whole system is quietly engineered to make the free experience slightly worse every year, nudging you toward paying for things that used to be included. And it works, because most passengers don't notice the slow erosion. They just feel like flying got a little more frustrating, without ever understanding exactly why. So, the next time you're standing in an airport, remember this. The security line, the bag check, the boarding process, none of it is random. Every step has been calculated, tested, and optimized, and not for your benefit. Now you know what they've been hiding. Make sure your friends know too before their next flight. And if you think airports are this shady, wait until you find out what hotels have been doing behind closed doors.